Okay, so we've got a minor success now. Minor success. Let's turn that down a bit. Okay, we've got a minor success now. So good. Let's stick it on the next screen. And yeah, we've got a minor success. Where to start? Never been a fan of Fedora on account of their Red Hat backend, their Leonard Pottering, Systemd, GNOME, Shell, malarkey. They basically inflicted the GNOME shell on us way back in the day. And God, that was a long time ago. Anyone still pining for GNOME 2 or a continuation of it? Wow. It was a long time ago, wasn't it? A long time ago. Why are we not all on Plasma? Well, we're all not on Plasma because they keep messing up, quite honestly. They keep messing up. They keep making it bloated. And what are the alternatives? The alternatives are GNOME, which is also bloated, or it's XFCE, which is cobbled together on top of the GTK stack and works really well for a lot of people, but keeps getting fatter and fatter as the GNOME backend gets fatter and fatter, and it keeps drawing on GTK apps. So it's essentially GNOME Lite. Or we can use a window manager like OpenBox or Awesome or the dynamic window manager DWM, or we can use any number of window managers like i3 and so on and so on and so on. Or we could just bite the bullet, swallow our pride and just install a Linux with its own backend, with its own display server, with its own software stack, with its own backend, which basically limits us to, in the real world, for people who just want to install something and get on with their work rather than look at the window decorations or how it screen shares and things like that. Anyone who just wants to install Linux, write a document, type an email, surf the web, do something like that. You basically got GNOME. You've got XFCE, which is GNOME-ish, but still lighter. You don't want to go for a window manager if you just want to load up, boot up, do some work and shut down. You've got Plasma, you've got LXQt. You've got LXQt, which is basically what came after LXDE, and LXDE was a certain kind of desktop panel that used OpenBox as the window manager, things like that. So if you just want to install something and just use it, you're basically stuck with the big boys, and the big boys have got a lot of little children, and you can use the little children if you want, but you're getting second-hand apps and second-hand modifications. If you want to go pure, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, and that's what I've done with this. This is the other desktop, laptop. I say desktop, I meant laptop. The other one's got Ubuntu 24.04 on, as you've seen in previous videos, and it's had it on for 15 months and it's running just lovely. So I thought, I'm going with the big boys. I'm going with, how do I get the purest form of the latest version of what Ubuntu's using at the minute? And that's by going with Fedora. I've got the latest Fedora. This is Fedora 42, and look, oh my goodness, 6 times 9 equals 42. Yeah, and in the press release or the release notes, it's got loads and loads of nods to Douglas Adams and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe and everything, which is, of course, 42. And this is Fedora 42. So let's change the background straight off to something more appropriate. There we go. Let's have a bit of a Douglas Adams background. The first thing I would like to say, in order to bring you this video, is I wanted to install OBS Studio. So the first place I went to was the Software Center. Now, when you search for the OBS Studio in the Software Center, it gives you some options. Okay? So you go to it. I've already got it open. You've got the choice for the Fedora Linux Flatpak, the Fedora Linux RPM, or the FlatHub Flatpak. So because I didn't want loads and loads of Flatpaks, I don't much like container apps, but yes, they're probably the future. I went for this one, and it wouldn't work. So I thought, okay, that's not working. I'll go for the Fedora Flatpak. So I uninstalled this one and installed this one. And this one didn't work either. So in the end I installed the FlatHub one, which I would presume is unadulterated by the Fedora gang. And this one works. For me. You might have great success with this one, you might have great success with this one. I didn't, neither of them would work. This one does, for me. So that's a little tiny heads up, and it's saying, oh, I can open it. But have I not got it open? Well, yes, I have. Okay. All that to one side. Now, I never thought I'd be making a video about using Ubuntu, let alone Fedora. Not since the arrival of the GNOME shell, or not since the arrival of all the weird, convoluted mishmash of innovating that the big boys seem to be doing. I believe that Canonical have largely ruined Ubuntu, and I believe that Fedora have largely, well, they've always been at the cutting edge and they've always been trying new things, so you basically sign up to weirdness when you install it. I've been using Linux since 2008, and I've got a particular soft spot for the OpenBox window manager, and I've got a particular soft spot for XFCE. I have grown to like GNOME Shell, and I'm hoping, though I'm not particularly confident that I will, grow to like Wayland Display Server. Because there's just an awful lot of stuff that you really have to wrestle with to get to work under Wayland. But wrestled I have done today, this evening, and I've managed to get screen recording working with OBS using the third of the available options in the Software Center. Most people would just go, oh, don't work, wipe, install something else. I wanted to try and try and try because I really want, after so many years, my God, 17 years of running Linux, I just want to install it, load up my programs and use them. I've so grown out of the, oh, well, it'll work if you do this, or oh, you've got to wrestle with it, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do that. I just want a straight drop in alternative to Windows or Mac OS. Confession, I've got one little laptop that uses Windows. I have got 2 MacBook Airs, one of which is out of date and one of which is going to go out of date in the next year or so. I've got a Mac Mini M2, which I like and use. And I feel no shame for doing so. I'm a computer user. Being a purist is like tying a ball and chain round your ankles and then attempting to run a 100-metre sprint. You don't get anywhere. You don't do anything. Unless you're a coder, and I'm not. So for those reasons, I just want an operating system that I can install and use and continue to use without too many problems. But screen recording I will work at just to get, because otherwise I can't make the video saying about how my attitudes to free software have changed. And they have. Free software is only any good if you can use it at all levels. The children of children of children of the major distributions are fine for the people who can iron out the bugs themselves, who can search for dependencies themselves. There used to be a phrase called dependency hell, and that used to be a thing. I never actually encountered it myself. Dependency hell, where you would install something from the operating system's software center or repositories and it wouldn't work because you needed to install something else, or you need to go and get some source code and compile it so that it would be compatible with your machine. That is largely not a thing anymore, he says reservedly, but for me it hasn't been a thing for a long time. So now I'm throwing out the window my reservations about System D. It's there, it's going to be there, get used to it, it's at least free. Wayland, I'm kicking and struggling. I would much rather use X11, Xorg. But you don't get that option with Fedora. But I wanted to try it because this is version 42 and they seem to like Douglas Adams, and I think Douglas Adams was one of the best storytellers of the last century in this one. So, and I love sci-fi. And I write a fair bit of Vogon poetry myself, as you can tell if you check my playlists, particularly the words playlist. So I'm on it. It's on the metal. I've run the install. I'm running it under Wayland. I'm running GNOME Shell. It's the latest one though. It's the latest GNOME Shell. So, what do I think of it? I think it's okay. Quite honestly, I really think it's okay. This is what we're running. We are running Fedora 42, the Workstation Edition, on an HP Laptop 15S FQ4 with an 11th Gen Intel Core i5, 8 core. 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD, and yeah, so it's using this thing. It's telling you, and we're using Wayland with the 615 kernel. Good grief! So we're using the Intel Iris Xeon graphics. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can tell you. Haven't really got much else to tell you other than it was a nice fast install. It installed well. I believe it likes Secure Boot, but I've turned Secure Boot off. This is an EFI, I'll say BIOS, but it's an EFI, I don't know, basic input-output system, BIOS. I guess it's a BIOS, isn't it? Even though it's not called a BIOS, it's called an EFI. Enhanced Firmware Initializer or something. I don't know what that means. And it works, and I'm using it, and I'm going to see how long I can use it for without tearing what remains of my hair out. or jumping in a brook. Yeah. Or just resigning myself to sitting on a deck chair at the seafront of Southend and slowly turning into a penguin. What have I installed? Have I installed anything particularly? I've installed Inkscape, I've installed the GIMP. I'm pretty sure that... Okay, so here's the thing. This is the software center, right? You do a search for, say, I don't know, the GIMP, yeah? And it brings up the GIMP, okay? Now, I've installed the Fedora Linux one, so it's a flat pack. I could have chosen the RPM, or I could have chosen the FlatHub one. So, this is what you need to check. If you are loath to use Flatpaks, Fedora, or just generic, click on this and you can choose to install the RPMs. I don't know, having not been a Fedora user for an awful long time. I think the last time I used a Fedora derivative, it was Blag Linux. So that should tell you something. That was from a long, long time ago. Brixton Linux Action Group Linux. So that was back on GNOME 2.32 or something. So yeah, the whole way of command line installing RPMs, I do not know. I think it gives you the option on the install to allow the RPM Fusion stuff. So a lot of extra stuff is available to install from within here. Or the command line, if you know how to use, what is it, Yast? Something like that. But I've not used it. I've just approached this as someone I don't want Windows, I'll try this. And so I've just tried this. I'm a Debian or Debian derivative user, so I'm as lost as a new user would be on this system. But yeah, it works, and you have to play around and find, particularly as far as screen recording goes, under Wayland, and you don't get the option of Xorg X11 at all. It's Wayland or nothing. So you have to mess about, you have to try things. But outside of screen recording, I believe pretty much everything else just works fine. It's just screen recording, particularly under NVIDIA. This is an all Intel machine, so it's working. But like I say, I had to install 2 versions before I got one that worked of OBS. Yeah, I'm going to see how it sits, and if it sits nicely, and if when the next one rolls around it upgrades nicely, which I believe Fedora does. I was always afraid of installing Fedora because it's got such a short lifespan, but I didn't realise that you could just upgrade to the next version without having to do a nuke and pave job. So yeah, my main machine, I will say at this point, is still Mint 22 with XFCE, and that's been on for a fair old while, probably about 7 months now, and it's fine. I've got no complaints. I've made it look different, but I don't spend an awful lot of time looking at my wallpaper, and I don't spend an awful lot of time looking at the window borders and things like that. And I think when you go into Linux, you spend too many hours, weeks, months, years trying to make it pretty, and not enough hours just using the damn thing. So now I'm at the mindset that install the operating system, install your software, and just use the damn thing. If you've got a window open, you can't see your wallpaper, so why do you worry so much about that? If you've got a window open, you're looking at what's in it, not what the frame is. Like if you wake up on a beautiful summer morning and you look out the window, do you spend all your time looking at the frame around the window? Or do you look at what's outside? Now, I think it's endemic, and I've been guilty of it myself. For the longest time, I spend too much time looking at the picture frame and not enough time looking at the picture. Get it on, use it. Look at what you're using. Look at what you're writing. Look at what you're drawing. Look at what you're recording. Look. The bottom line is the operating system doesn't really matter. It's what you do in it that does. And that, my friends, is 42 for you. That is the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. Ta-ra.
2 to the power of 75,001 against, and falling.
Hey! Who are you? Where are you? What's going on? Is there any way of stopping this?
Please relax, you are perfectly safe.
That is not the point. Point is, I am now a perfectly safe penguin. My colleague here is rapidly running out of limbs.